That was the third time I've tried to say my name correctly, so I'm glad I got it right this time.
Third time lucky.
152 the episode.
Yep.
And this fantastic episode features a lot of really cool things. But more importantly, it's sponsored by the Duke's Golf Course in St Andrews.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you now. I'm on the fence about the Dukes.
Okay, tell me why.
Because I just don't know much about it. I've never really heard of it. So sell it to me. Now's your chance. You've got 30 seconds. Time starts now.
Less than 10-minute drive from the Old Course Hotel.
Tick.
You stay at the Old Course Hotel. You overview the St Andrews golf courses.
Correct.
Okay. You jump in the car, drive up the road. 10 minutes, you're at the Dukes. Beautiful driveway. On the right-hand side, you've got the car park. You've got actually a little top tip. If you chance it right, go down a little bit further towards the main car park, and there's 7 or 8 spots that no one parks in, and you're right next to the clubhouse.
Okay.
Or there's a roundabout outside the front entrance. You can drop your bags off, park up, bags are there. Okay.
Yep.
As you walk up the stairs into this beautiful clubhouse, on the right-hand side, you've got this pro shop, which is absolutely spectacular. It is filled with some of the greatest golf garments in the world.
Give me 5 things it sells.
T-pegs,
Yeah.
bottles of water,
Yeah.
Mars bars, Dukes, I'm guessing, Dukes merchandise,
Yeah.
and Pro V1s with the logo Dukes on it.
Done.
You walk out the back and into the restaurant, and
Yeah.
everything is just done to a class that is above many places. So that the chairs are beautiful leather. It's historic, but it's modern. You walk out the back and you're onto the terrace, and from the terrace you can probably see about 6 or 7 holes of the Dukes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Look a bit further. Take your eyes up a bit further. Draw your eyes away from the beautiful Heathland Golf Course up on the hills at St Andrews and look over the Bay of St Andrews. And from there, you will see for miles and miles and miles. I actually don't even know what the next country is from there. Maybe Norway.
Yeah.
You could see. And from there, you can see the old course. You can see everything from that vantage point. You get back in the clubhouse, you order a bacon butty, you scoff that down, you go and hit some balls to the driving range, you go and tee it up and you go and shoot 74, you break 75, life is good, and you have just accomplished a beautiful day at the Duke's Golf Course in St Andrews.
I think I'll pass.
No, it is. It's class. It's good. Very, very good. So if you are interested in membership, corporate days, just going out for a really nice, another option of a golf course at St Andrews, because often a lot of tourists go to St Andrews and they'll play multiple different golf courses.
Yeah.
Put Dukes on the bucket list. It's one to play. You will not be disappointed, and it's very different style to a lot of the linksy golf courses down nearer to the sea. It's much more heathland. It's got trees. It's got elevation. It's got less wind potentially.
It's all like well and good, but if I want to find out more information about the Dukes, what do I do?
You follow the link, which is thedukescourse.co.uk, and that will be put in the video description and also the podcast description.
You've earned your crust today. Well done.
Today, we've got a guest on later on today.
Yes.
And the story of this guest is fascinating because his golf tour has just been closed down.
So for context, we've had the guest in already this morning. We've had a little 40-minute chat. It was very good, very insightful. But yeah, this is there's more to professional golf than just the glitz, the glamour, the private jets.
This is very much the other side of it, like the hardship, the struggle, the fact that 1 minute you're playing on a tour that's been going for 20 years. Yeah. And you get a text one morning saying it's closed down.
Yeah, so this is so random. We spoke a couple of weeks ago, or whenever it was last week, about the guy that played on some local PGA stuff and the prize funds weren't great. And we had quite a good debate about that. We had a lot of emails about that, a lot of comments on the YouTube video as well, which was great. Completely coincidentally, the next day it was announced that the Euro Pro Tour was going to be closing at the end of this season. So the Euro Pro, we do come on to this a bit more in depth in the rest of the podcast, but it's essentially the third tier of golf in England and Europe. So you've got the DP World Tour, then you've got the Challenge Tour, and then you've got Euro Pro. And a lot of big name golfers, household names you guys listening and watching will know, started up on the Euro Pro Tour. It's finito, it's gone, it's finished from this year.
Crazy. So we'll get guests on later on in this episode. But before we get onto that, we had 2 previous guests do incredibly well this weekend.
That is the thing that was noticed. If you go on the podcast, come on the podcast, or if you feature in one of your videos on the main channel, there's a good chance that you're going to go on to do great things.
You might become a new European Tour winner.
Yes.
You might become a major winner.
Yes.
You might become the next putt champion of the year.
Yes. Or get really ripped like we have.
But more importantly, you might also become the champion of the Pro Long Drive Association Championship. This weekend, I think it was over in Vegas, they had the Professional Long Drive Association Championship. And my friend, your friend, and the listeners' friends, Martin the Monster Borgmeier,
August to me and you,
won the championship with a long drive of 426 yards.
That's insane.
What makes it even better, the finalist was between him and household name professional golfer, major winner, Bryson DeChambeau. What the hell is happening in the world?
It's hard for me to have two of my close mates competing.
Well, you had to text them both, didn't you?
I did. And it was like, whoever wins is a win-win. But yeah, massive shout out to Martin. We know from the videos we've done, from the podcast, from behind the scenes, that he is an absolute grafter. He has worked so hard at improving his physique, his strength, all this kind of stuff to become a long driver. And not only that, he's now officially the world's longest driver. What's the actual? What the actual?
I think it is. Well, the tournament,
world long drive champion.
Yeah, the tournament is. I think the shorten is PLD, Professional Long Drive Association Championship. So it's quite a long-winded name, but yeah, you're right. It is the Long Drive Championship of the world.
And it's a niche sport that's kind of certainly gained a lot more coverage in the last number of years, and certainly since Martin and Kyle Berkshire as well have been so prominent in the sport, and then Bryson's done such great things. Not only has Bryson brought it more to the mainstream, he's competing to the literally the elite level, obviously coming second. So
it's mad, that, isn't it?
I said to you before, and this is no disrespect to Bryson, again, we are good friends, but I'm kind of, for the sport of long drive, I'm quite happy he didn't win. And the only reason I say that is it's nothing against Bryson whatsoever, is that if an actual, I'll use a term normal very loosely, but if a normal golf professional, tour pro, won it, would that then kind of hinder the long drive world? The argument could be it would actually get more eyeballs on it and more awareness. However, if he won it, would it take something off the long drive guys?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
100%. Because I feel like long drive is almost like this crazy, almost circus that's separate from real golf.
It's great that Bryson's competing and doing so well, but it's really nice that Martin, who's an authentic long driver, won it.
I can't comprehend still that Bryson did come second.
It's insane.
I mean, it's got to be one of the greatest achievements. Yeah. Imagine if he won it, that would actually become a movie.
He's the kind of guy, I think, Bryson, that if he hadn't been a golfer, he wanted to be whatever he wanted to be, he would get to the top of his game in whatever field. I think he's got that drive and that intelligence and that desire to do whatever he wants to do and do it well.
He actually said, I'm going to pull it up now because I saw it on his Instagram last night. He put a post out yesterday, and there's a line in it which I think...
It's Bryson?
Yeah, which I think really summarises him up. Okay, he quoted, "You only have one go at the game of life, so why not live a life worth dying for?"
Why not live a life? Nice.
Oh, he spelled it with an E, though.
Oh.
But that isn't like I feel like that really kind of describes Bryson's attitude towards anything. Like, he will give it everything. He has put blood, sweat, tears. He really broke himself to become a long drive competitor. Never mind potential champion. But in the end, there was 20 yards difference. Bryson in the final hit it.
Isn't it?
Bryson in the final hit it 406 yards.
That is ridiculous.
406 yards. Like, think of a hole now. That's a very good par 4.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
He's driving the green. And then Martin Borgmeier hit it 426 yards to become the winner.
I wonder if this now, obviously Bryson's long drive journey didn't start because of the long drive. It started to try and improve his golf, which I think it has done, hasn't it, really? I wonder now if he'll take a bit of a back seat in the long drive world and still work on it for his own actual golf game, because you think, on a serious note, he's proved to the world that he's elite at this sport, and he's obviously so good to finish second against guys whose full-time job is long drive. I wonder if he kind of thinks now, if I keep going, there is a risk of injury, and as much as he obviously wants to win something like this, is it worth putting his back out or hurting himself on that quest, which then affect his actual golf and maybe his long-term career? I wonder if there's a balance now of like, right, I've kind of semi-conquered that, I can leave that. Do you think?
Yeah, because he's slimmed down a lot recently. He's not as kind of bulky as he was. And as well, it's not as if now, obviously, he's playing on Live Tour. It's not as if now his extra long length is making him win every single week. Like, his length isn't massively making the biggest difference to his professional golf game, really, is it?
It really seems that first year after we had a look when we had him on the podcast, his stroke average dropped by at least 1 or whatever it was, and he obviously went on to. Did he win his major after that? Yeah. So it did help him. Like you said, recently it doesn't seem to be. But I suppose then you could argue if he wasn't as long as he is now, and he was 30 yards shorter, would he be doing worse than he is now? So it's hard to really measure. But yeah, I think it's a balance now of like he's proved he's very competitive at this, but maybe it's time to just park the long drive and not risk that injury.
Yeah, because even things like, remember the Open, the big talk around the Open at St Andrews this year, like someone like Bryson. I remember we played it obviously a couple of times this year. It's like Bryson could rip this place up, and he didn't.
But I wonder as well, though, now more guys are on this journey. Obviously, guys like Rory is already stupidly long, but like Matt Fitzpatrick has gained a lot of distance. Kind of been slept on a little bit. We saw it obviously in the US Open when he won. But he's gone on that, obviously, because he didn't fill out like Bryson. It wasn't much of a talking point. But you see his ball speed now comfortably over 180, and he was normally quite a short guy.
Yeah, he was.
So I suppose that now Bryson's led that real kind of conquest for distance, because more guys are doing it maybe out with maybe not as much media attention. They're all semi kind of catching him potentially, or at least improving themselves.
100%. There was something I actually really enjoyed, and quite sadistic of me this weekend. I think it was Friday. Okay, the weather here in the UK was absolutely horrendous. Like storms were coming in and everything, like horrendous. The Dunhill Championship was taking place.
Yes.
Okay, and if you don't know the Dunhill, it's over Carnoustie, St Andrews, Kingsbarns.
Rate those courses 1, 2, and 3 out of your opinion right now.
Oh, God, Kingsbarns is my number one.
Yeah,
I have to say it. St Andrews, Carnoustie.
Yeah.
And on Friday. So this event, it's kind of quite a fun event on the European Tour, DP World Tour, where there'll be some big name professionals, such as Rory, Matt Fitzpatrick, who we just spoke about, is what's kind of reminding me of this story now. And then they will have either celebrity playing partner, or like Matt Fitzpatrick played with his mum.
It's cool, that.
And like sometimes they play with sponsors, and Rory McIlroy played with his dad and things like this. Watching them on Friday, trying to battle around those golf courses in the worst conditions possible, was so much fun.
Yeah.
Watching. Like, honestly, it was amazing. Even the commentators were like struggling to commentate on it because they were getting blown around and all sorts. But still under those conditions, they could still play good golf.
I think it's good to see that. We obviously played the old course for the very first time, and it was horrendous. It was just, it was the worst I've ever played in.
If it wasn't the old course, we wouldn't have played.
100% we wouldn't have played. But that is still part of the game of golf. And sometimes when you think back to like certainly links golf and Scottish golf, although it weirdly is very sunny up there a lot of the time, that is how golf should be played as well, I guess. Yeah. So it's kind of nice sometimes to see these guys. And I think you can learn because, sorry, a lot of amateur golfers, some don't want to play in the rain, but equally a lot do because they, if they've got a weekend free or they've booked to play golf, they don't want to let a bit of rain stop them. So you can learn from watching these guys how they battle and how they kind of persevere.
What the resilience was mad.
Give me 3 tips for playing in the rain.
Waterproof gloves.
100%.
Like, it is an absolute essential.
Yeah.
Isn't like
the ones that like Mac Wets where they get better the wetter they are.
They're unbelievable. And you don't have to take them off at any point. Like, they feel good enough because they're a different material to leather. Yeah. You can actually put in them like 2 gloves. Just the grippiness is brilliant. Extra towels in the bag.
Yes.
Like, get more towels in your bag. And if I'm honest, just really good waterproofs.
Yeah.
So they're the 3 things that you need for actual tips playing in wet conditions is change your expectation levels for that day. Like, I'm just flicking through the scores here. Honestly, I'm seeing one score break 70 on Friday.
Which was that at all 3 courses though? Was the one course?
It's all a bit of a mixture. Alex Noren shot 69 around somewhere. Sorry, I don't actually know where he played on that day, but McIlroy, for example, was playing at Kingsbarns that day. He shot 75.
That was tough.
He shot 75 at Kingsbarns that day. Like,
well, you've played that in the. So I've got something to throat. Sorry.
I played that in the wind with...
That was horrendous.
Oh, actually, Richard Mansell, also shot 68 on that Friday. But honestly, the score average is probably 76 that day.
Yeah.
That's great. So your expectation levels need to change, definitely. And then just daft top tips, like chipping and putting into greens can be very different. Like when you chip, your ball will react differently on the green. Sometimes you'll hit a bit of a wet puddle and the ball will stop. Sometimes it'll skip a little bit across the surface. It depends on the height that you play your shot from. But more importantly, just go out there and try and smile. Like you don't want to. You don't want to be there, but just go out and just try and smile.
Can I give you a tip? Don't have an OT breakfast bar before doing a podcast. It's really in my throat. It's not great.
So yeah, I watched quite a bit of it. Ryan Fox ended up becoming the winner. Weirdly, a name I feel like it was so dominant for so long. He's never played in the Masters, Ryan Fox.
Wow.
This time, because he won the Dunhill, he'll be playing in the Masters next April. I can't believe that.
Why does that get him in? Just
I'm guessing order of merit or whatever it may be, or because I think he's second now in the race to Dubai.
Oh right, okay.
Also, he wasn't even really a pick for President's Cup that was recent. Yeah, I feel like Ryan Fox is a pretty. I don't know. I feel like he's done incredibly well. Like he's won quite a bit. I know he lost in a playoff this year. Oh God, I can't think who it was against now, but I know he's been in a couple of playoffs this year. Also, there was a couple of golfers copying me this week.
Okay.
Copycats.
What were they, fatting chips?
Fatting chips.
Sorry,
fatting chips, shooting 77s. No, they were copying me, but not quite doing it right.
Elaborate.
18th hole.
Ah.
Old course.
We're talking big bounces.
They tried to take the Ricky Shiels line. Bit awkward. So Alex Noren did it.
Did it work for him?
Alex Noren did it. He was one shot behind the lead, or two shots behind the lead at the time. He pushed it. It was a bit of a dodgy swing. He pushed it way right onto the road, shouting 4.
Yeah.
Been there, done. Who's not done that? Do you know what I mean? Who's not shouted 4 down the road on the old course, road course 18th. Ricochets off, bounces across the green to about 30 foot and didn't hold it for eagle.
Pathetic.
Amateur. And then Mark Noble,
West Ham
player, he also did it. He's went into the road and bounced back kind of on the fairway.
You know what's mad? Your one at the old course was obviously 1 in a million. But in theory, if you do hit it to the right on 18, because of the way it should always bounce back.
I've got a wall.
That's what I mean. You've got like a wall. And the way
fence is like picketed.
Yeah, it should always come. But having said that, it's easy to say this now, you should never miss right on that hole.
Never.
There's so much room left.
I'm actually worried the next time I play that golf course.
I'm worried now because of what you've done. I
feel like it's so ingrained in my brain. I can't imagine a different way of doing it.
Yeah, it's the widest hole. 1 in 18 is the widest hole in the world, but yet one of the scariest. Certainly coming up 18.
So good. Yeah, so there was a couple of guys on there copying. But bar watching a bit of the Dunhill, a bit of sadisticness, I watched the last few holes of LPGA, which Charlie Hull won, English girl, and that was actually a really good last few holes. She shot 64 to end up winning. I think Charlie Hull is one of those stars that I feel like I've known for so long. Certainly here in the UK, like she kind of shot to stardom as this young superstar, and I'm sure probably to her own right, she never quite fulfilled her full potential. It's good seeing her win on LPGA Tour. That might catapult her career. But not apart from that, there wasn't loads of professional golf, was there, this week?
No, I was going to say your football team, but are they still? Man United got beat 6-3. So what are you doing now with football? I feel like you're kind of off it now. Is it gone? Was that a bit last year?
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went
Sports
off
City now.
I went off it big time.
Yeah.
Okay. I was done.
Yeah.
With football. Okay. Started this year. Done with it. This year started, and obviously the first 2 games didn't go to plan.
You were definitely off it then.
Eric Ten Hag and all this jazz, and get him sacked, I was saying. Yeah. 2 games in, get him sacked.
After Glazers, you kept saying.
Get him out. Then we went on a little run. Yeah. Beat Arsenal. Beat a few other teams. Okay. You guys were doing terrible.
Yeah.
Still are doing terrible.
And you beat us.
And you beat you, and we beat you. So we've had a bit of a break. Quite a long break, international break, and obviously, the passing of the Queen delayed football as well. I came back genuinely Sunday morning with a buzz of excitement about myself. Like thinking, Derby Day. Do you know what I mean? I'm a big red. I'm there waking up, red boxers on, red T-shirt on, scarf, middle of the day, United scarf. And genuinely buzzing. And then 5 minutes into the match, I'd just pretty much turned it off.
Done with it now.
No, I did actually watch it, but it was hard to watch. Yeah. How good is Haaland?
Unbelievable. He's just a natural finisher.
Is he not? Like, you almost can't compare. What you're doing right now, you can't compare him to any other sports
I think it's
person.
14 goals in 8 games for the Premier League.
It took him 8 games to get 3 hat tricks. What the?
It's outrageous, isn't it?
So yeah. Anyway,
just last thing on golf before we try and attempt to do. That's all we can do for football. So don't worry if you're not into soccer, football. That's all we can really deliver because we don't know much more than that. Do we really?
You know what I did see though.
Try and talk like you know about football.
I did see one thing that upset me yesterday.
Go on.
So the match had finished.
Yeah.
Okay. I was driving home from where I'd been, and I stopped off at Little Tesco. Okay. Sunday afternoon, the only place that's open really, and it's Little Tesco. Get a few bits and bobs. Claire went in to get some bits and bobs, so I was sat in the car with the kids, and a guy walked past me with a Man City shirt on. Okay. So,
you get out and start on him.
Horrible man. Right. Walks past. I'm sure he was a lovely man, but he walked past with a Man City shirt on. He went in, grabbed whatever he needed, probably champagne, probably picking up champagne for his celebrationary win. So it's champagne and cigars. As he walked back out, I was like, there he is again. And he walked past the car, and on his back, he had, and this is decent, 50-odd-year-old man, had Haaland number 9 on his back. I was like, nah, don't do that, mate.
Shirt works. I could deal with the shirt.
I don't think you should have Haaland number 9 on your back.
Really.
Do you know what I mean? Anyway, Sado.
Some good news for everyone listening and watching. Review season is fast approaching us, and you know where to go to watch your reviews of golf equipment, the best reviews in the world. I could name another channel. But yeah, we are definitely going to be reviewing it. Well, Rick's going to be reviewing everything.
We might do it a little bit different this year, where, for example, let's say Titleist TSR and TSR2 and TSR3, instead of kind of doing the full shebang review, might even just go out and play it with play with them in a break 75.
Well, that's it. I think when the normal way of reviewing golf, which you've done for a long time now, and it's really good, is obviously hitting balls in GC Quad, looking at numbers, taking it onto the golf course, some kind of real life experience. But at the end of the day, you know these are going to be fast off the face, like they were last year, the year before, like Pingar, like Callaway Art, etc. So like you said, maybe actually going onto the golf course with them, you sometimes almost learn more, don't you? When you know it's like a hole where you can't miss left, you've got a bit of leeway right, you want to kind of hit one straight with a slight block if necessary to avoid the rubbish or whatever. It gives that more, you know more about it than just whacking balls in the range. So, yeah.
You need to know, like, when you've got your own driver and you're out on the golf course and you stood on that tee and you think, I need a good one here.
Yeah.
You need to be able to stand with the driver that you go, and I feel like I can do that with this driver.
And I think as well, you also want to know what your miss is.
Correct.
Which sometimes when you're just hitting balls on a range on GC Quad, you can almost disregard the misses because it's easy to. So you just focus on the good ones. But every driver now hits good shots. It's how does that work when you hit that Healy ones? Does it still get out there? Does it still, go forward?
That's probably now the only big dividing factor between these drivers, isn't it, really?
But I think the big thing that gets over, well, hopefully we don't overlook it too much, but it's how a club makes you feel. Yeah. And it sounds silly. Obviously, we're both using the Ping G425 Max. And looking down, it's not the prettiest. I'm not the fan of the turbulators.
It doesn't sound good at all.
It doesn't sound very good either. But the footprint is so big that for me, that gives me confidence, and I need confidence in my driver these days. I was always a massive Titleist fan. Certainly, well, I am still with drivers. I used to love them, 983K, all these drivers years ago. Now when I put them down, even the TSR2, they almost look just too pear-shaped for me.
The shaping's a little bit off,
I just, even if that driver performs great, maybe that would build my confidence over time. But in the short term, I couldn't play golf with it. I wouldn't feel confident at all. So that's a big thing that, we need to think about as well with the reviews, and we will do going forward. It's like, actually being on the golf course is so beneficial.
I also feel like shiny-headed drivers just put me off. I always feel like I'm looking at my reflection or looking at the sun.
When you've had a matte one for a while.
Yeah, I feel like when you've got a shiny driver sometimes behind the ball, like there's a lot going on because it reflects everything that it's seeing.
Yeah.
Or a matte driver, like the Ping or something, or there's obviously other brands that do matte drivers, there's nothing but just club head. Yeah. You don't see anything externally.
Quick note, Friday, Break 75,
West
Lancs Golf Club, what a course. Good edit on that. We've seen some.
Oh yeah, it's class. That was where I had my only ever official hole-in-one.
Or did you get another one this week? Maybe.
No, I didn't. But I was pretty close. But yeah, that's where the home. I know we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago. Like my nightmare. I feel like it is my nightmare nemesis golf course. I feel like I'm racking up quite a few of those nemesis golf courses now, but that's one of them.
We've also got another Break 75 in the can at Wilmslow, but I don't want to talk about that one at all. So let's just not mention that because it's just not really. My medal.
What's that?
Yeah, it's the
No. What's that?
What?
Oh, all right. It's just my editor talking into my ear.
Oh, is it gone?
Oh, that SD card's corrupt.
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
not corrupt. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Guy, it's corrupt.
Yeah. So this is going to be a week on Friday. So hold your horses.
I'm booking the day
Tell
off.
tell your wife you ain't going out to get a nice bottle of red, get the TV on, get YouTube on.
I'm deleting YouTube that day.
And relax, because you're going to see Guy trying to do what he does best. If you know what I'm talking about. Playing really good golf.
All right.
And other things.
Right, without further ado, let's get our guest on. As we mentioned at the start of the podcast, this tour player, well, it's called Rhys Nevin. Local lad. He is currently playing on the Europro Tour, 24 years old. He was currently playing on Europro Tour because next year it's going to be closed down. So let's find out what Rhys thinks of it. Turn pro of +6.
That isn't bad, is it?
We're also going to shoot a video this afternoon, which in this podcast we'll tell you what that is.
Unbelievable.
Great concept, great idea, guys.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And it might make Rhys much better off.
Well, what I've not told you is that I already spoke to Rhys this morning.
On commission.
And I said to him, look, I'll get you a few quid here, but I want 10%. So
Nice.
it's going to be a good day for me and for Rhys.
So without further ado, let's get Rhys on the podcast. Make sure you are liking, commenting, rating the podcast. Don't forget emails at podcast@rickshiels.co.uk. Check out the Facebook page, Rick Shiels Golf Show Podcast. I think I've covered everything.
Ideally, email podcast@rickshiels.com, so we do get them, not .co.uk, because they won't come to us.
Either way. Just whatever. Send the pigeon.
Yeah, that'll actually get to us.
We shall see you next week and enjoy this really good chat with Rhys and his future in professional golf. Well, Rhys, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Another tour pro,
Yes.
but with a very different type of story,
Yeah.
which I'm really interested to delve into today.
Yeah.
Tell me a little, give the audience a bit of a background. When was it you turned pro?
So I turned pro last year after spending 5 years in America at the University of Tennessee.
Nice.
Best 5 years of my life.
Was it good? Well, we have a lot of American listeners.
Yeah.
And is that regarded as a really big kind of college out there, big school?
Yeah, it's in the SEC, which is a really strong conference. Golf-wise, it's on the way up. They're kind of the top 10 in the country at the moment. But football, I mean, the stadium holds over 100,000 people.
It's insane.
It's
isn't it?
absolutely mad. You know what? I still don't feel like I know enough about like college sports.
Even when you said, what was it, SCC you said then?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is even.
It's
Is it
like
South
well,
something.
there's probably over 500 universities in America, and they all get split into little conferences. So SEC is a good one, like Power 5, Big 10. But yeah, a lot of people don't know about it in the UK, and I get a lot of people asking me if they should go, and I'm like, go.
Yeah.
Or visit. If you go on a visit and you see what it's like, you'll make your mind up pretty quickly.
So you were out there for 5 years.
Yeah, it should have been 4 years, but because of COVID, I got to spend an extra year out there.
And did you know all about like the college setup before you went, or did you learn once you were out there?
I learned once I was out there. I was in the England boys squad at the time, and I got the chance to play in the junior players at TPC Sawgrass, and a lot of the coaches were there, the university coaches, and then a couple of them, you know, like my game, and I got the chance to visit the universities and learn more about it, and I was sold straight away.
Am I right in saying though they have to be very careful, don't they?
Oh, there's so many rules. There's so many rules about.
Like they can't like give you a backhander, can they?
No. So many. They can only approach you like a certain amount of times. Yeah, it's crazy.
And did you have any like outlandish kind of offers? Like, was there a, you know, Rhys, you can come to Tennessee, lovely place to live, and also there's a house with your name on it, ready for you to move into. Like, is there not a bit of that going on? You know what to say.
For golfers, not so much. For the football players that are playing in front of 100,000 people and bringing in all the money, maybe.
I bet those guys get famous, don't they? The ones who are like the NFL players. Well, not NFL, but American footballers. They must be like well known on campus and stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. You'll be in class and you'll be sat next to the quarterback, and then on the weekends you're watching him playing in front of 102,000 people, and he's on the news, but then in class he's just a normal student.
No way.
I can't get over that.
Like, is that not just outrageous pressure for these lads?
Yeah, they get a lot of support, but it prepares you well for pro sports, and I think it's a really good way of doing it.
And so you see that obviously in the football, American football for us. What's that like in the golf space? I'm guessing you're not getting 100,000 people watching every tournament. Do you even get spectators at your tournaments?
At the bigger ones, you might get a couple of spectators, but one good thing is some of the tournaments are covered by Golf Channel, and that's Golf Channel are doing that more and more often, and that prepares you really well for pro golf. But in terms of spectators and attention from the news and stuff, golfers, yeah.
So you're not getting stopped in the halls by screaming fans.
I wasn't giving out many autographs or anything.
You're not getting cheerleaders on the first tee.
You're not a jock, are you, for a golfer?
No.
Did you ever transition while you're out there in trying different sports, or once you're over there and obviously golf is your thing?
Yeah.
Do you just stick to that? Obviously.
Yeah, golf was the main focus, but it's good to watch the other sports, basketball and ice hockey, two sports that I didn't really watch at all before going to America. They're really good sports. Basketball, American football, really hard. Have you ever thrown a basketball?
Well, I have thrown a basketball in my time, yeah.
They make it look so easy from the 3-point line, and it's mad.
It's a long way, actually, when you look at it. It is a long way. It's like, and their accuracy is just a joke.
And you see the NFL players throwing a football 50 or 60 yards.
Yeah, that's impressive. Because you've ever tried like throwing a golf ball? Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like, you think, I could probably get to that 100 yards, and you throw it, it goes like 30. You go, oh, that's actually really quite hard. What I'm impressed with so far, you've not come back with an American twang.
No. I think I'd come back over at summer and Christmas, and I would have an American twang for maybe a day, but being around my friends and family, it'd go straight away.
Would they take the mick out of you?
Yeah.
Would they?
Yeah.
You couldn't get away with it.
And a few words as well, they stuck with me, like maybe saying sure or
trash.
Yeah. No.
Sidewalk.
I want some candy.
Yeah, not quite on that level.
So when you went out, you were 19 when you went out to America, or you were younger?
18, 19.
Playing off what handicap at that point?
Well, my handicap didn't change when I was over there. I didn't get an American handicap, so I probably went there +4, 4 +5, and then I turned pro off +6.
So 18, you're off +4. You are in the England squad. You're doing pretty well. Have you won some tournaments at that point in time?
I didn't win any national tournaments. I did well, and that's maybe like top 10s, and then I'd go abroad to play for England. And just off those results, that's what got me into the squad.
Nice.
But no national wins at that point.
Ever like knocking on door of like Walker Cups or things like that?
Yeah, that was always my goal. I came up just short. So when I got back from America, my biggest win was the Walton Heath Trophy.
Oh yeah,
which was good to win. A lot of good names on that trophy.
And that what put you almost into the Walker Cup team, or did you need to do more to get into that team?
I needed to do more, but it was at a time where I wanted to turn pro, and especially after getting that win, I was like, I've got the big amateur win that I wanted to get before I was going to turn pro. And after doing that, I was excited. Yeah.
So +6, you officially turned pro.
Turned pro, yeah.
Last year was that?
Yeah.
So not really recent.
August last year, probably close to a year ago.
So explain to the listeners and viewers right now, because pro golf has many different levels, as I'm sure you've probably already know. And I think even me, I've been in the golf industry for 20 odd years. Even I feel like I'm only really just understanding how many different layers there are.
Yeah.
You turn pro, and what's your first pathway? What can you, like, you're not suddenly going entering PGA Tour events or DP World Tour events. No. Where's your entry level?
So at that time of year, there are certain tournaments you can actually pay to enter. So I wanted to play in some of those to experience what it's like playing for money and the type of competition I'm going up against. So that was more of like Jamaica Tour events, if you've heard of that. Yeah, and
that's in Spain, is it?
Or is it that's over here.
Is it in the UK?
Yeah. So Jamaica Tour, you have 2020 Pro Tour.
Yeah.
A couple of other ones that you can pay to enter, and they run an order of merit system alongside that if you play in so many events. And then I turned pro just before Euro Pro Q School, which is, I would say, the third tier. So you have DP World, Challenge Tour, and then Euro Pro, which is like the third tier. But you do have to go through Q School to get a card for that.
And you did pretty good at Q School.
Yeah, I came tied first.
Okay, so you won it. You won Q School, basically.
I wanted to win it, but I came tied first.
So what sort of scores? And first off, how many rounds is Q School just to get in Europro?
You have a first stage and a second stage, both 3 rounds.
And again, I think for our US listeners, just to really clarify, and even our global listeners, Euro Pro Tour is not European Tour. It's obviously very, very, very different. Like, even though it sounds like the same words, 'cause I think a lot of Americans maybe call the European Tour the Euro Pro Tour, where it's not Euro Pro, Challenge Tour, DP World Tour, which used to be European Tour.
That's hard to say. What's the typical first place prize amount on the Euro Pro?
Euro Pro Tour, every tournament this year is 12,500.
12,500.
And then Tour Champs, which is in a couple of weeks, they double money.
Right.
So to winning, you earn 12,500.
Yes.
So that's not the prize fund as such.
No, the prize fund is, I think, between 40 and 50. Everyone who makes the cut gets paid.
And how are these tournaments at this level stumping up that much money?
It's expensive to play. You pay £300 to enter, and then they run a pro-am alongside it, which I'm guessing generates some money. And then the courses, I think, put up a fee to play as well, to host the tournament.
Oh, so the course pay to host an event?
From what I've heard, yeah.
That's interesting. And you've been on this tour now for one full year, 2022.
2022, one full year. I've got one tournament left to play, and first and last.
And that is it then. So the breaking news that came out last week, which was a real kind of curveball, the Europro Tour, which we are talking about right now, the tour that you are currently on, your tour, is ending at the end of this year. It will not continue into 2023.
That's right. They've been going for 20 years, and there was an announcement on Wednesday, and that was the first time the pros found out as well. So we got an email in the morning, and a few minutes later it was posted online, and that's the first we heard of it. But after 20 years, it's ending.
Why?
From what I've heard, it's financial. Because Sky Sports broadcast the event as well, which I'm guessing is very expensive, and they can't do it anymore.
That's it.
Yeah.
End of. Done.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? What are you and all the other players now on Europro Tour going to do?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And it's sad for, I think, pros and pro golf in England as well, because you'll have a lot more people going over to different countries to play, and you want your best English pros playing in England, surely. There's a few other tours that might, I know, have you heard of Clutch Pro Tour? Yeah.
So like Jamaica 2020 Tour, Clutch Pro, they might benefit in the short term potentially.
Yeah, I've played in a few Clutch Pro Tours, and they're really well-run events, and they play at some really good venues. And from what I've seen on social media, they seem very enthusiastic about taking up the slack and maybe changing their tour to accommodate more players.
Well, a little bit like, obviously, in the Football League, you can get promoted. Yeah. Obviously, if you do well in the Challenge Tour, you get then obviously a DP World Tour card. Mm-hmm. Was that not the same if you did well in Euro Pro, you'd get a Challenge Tour card?
Yeah, so top 5 in the order of merit moved up to Challenge Tour. And some of the players that have got top 5, you saw Richard Mansell this weekend in the Dunhill Links. He came from Euro Pro Tour. And
was it Tyrrell Hatton as well? There was somebody else that was a
there's
big...
some really big names.
But I suppose that then, for someone like yourself who's just turned pro and you get onto the Euro Pro Tour and you're doing quite well, that gives you a clear vision. I know there's also Q School as well for the European Tour, but that gives you a clear vision of, well, if I do well on this tour, I can then get promoted essentially to Challenge, and then can get promoted again to the DP World. How will that now work with these other tours, like the Clutch Tour, for example? Will they give a clear pathway up into Challenge Tour, do you think, or...?
Yeah, Clutch Pro have a good relationship with Challenge Tour. They already offer spots if you win their event. You might get a Challenge Tour spot. I'm not sure how it works with an actual Challenge Tour card. But yeah, there's been a lot of good players that have got their card through Europro, and you might not see like journeys like Richard Mansell, who's nearly won the Dunhill, and yeah.
Well, he was. He was leading. Was he leading by 3 going into the final round at the Dunhill?
Yeah.
Who was running the Europro Tour? Is it a European tour?
It's the PGA.
Was it Matchroom as well?
Matchroom.
Barry Hearn.
That's right. Yeah.
So whose actual decision?
Yeah.
Does it fall to this tour closing down? I'm sure there's a board, but is there an actual tour, for example? Because it says here
it is Matchroom
on the
Sports.
website. It says UK's #1 golf tour,
Yeah.
an official satellite of the European Tour.
Yeah. So it is like a feeder, because there's Alps Tour as well that feeds players into Challenge Tour, and there might be a couple of other ones, but they must be associated in some way with the DP World.
But when you say the PGA, is that the PGA like Professional Golfers Association?
Yeah,
here
the
in
full
UK?
the full title is PGA Europro Tour.
So the PGA is in what I'm a member of. The PGA,
Yeah.
being a PGA golf professional. That is what's running this.
I think so.
Well, Matchroom, the Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
So they obviously have boxing, loads of sports. I knew all this already, but I'm looking on their website now. They are the guys that basically have Europro. And you look at some of the tour alumni: Tommy Fleetwood, Eddie Pepperell, Tyrrell Hatton, Louis Oosthuizen, Aaron Rye. List goes on. Robert Rock, Lee Slattery. So a lot of these, like
Charles Schwartzel, Brandon Grace.
Some big names that you said
Big
have come from this. I'm guessing, again, we probably should do a bit more looking into this, but like you said, for them, it's just not financially viable. And that's why they're kind of shutting up shop.
But how many tour pros now are on this tour, Europro?
They must have nearly 200 members. I think each tournament host has 156 players. They do a Monday qualifying, so say 3 or 4 get in from that, so you must have 130, 40 members of the tour teeing it up each week.
And sorry to sound super raw right now.
Yeah.
When you got the news last Wednesday, what was your initial feelings?
It was disappointing to get it so late and not have any notice. And obviously now there's a lot of uncertainty about what next year is going to look like. But hopefully it turns out to be a good thing, and the tours do step up and give the pros, a good opportunity, and it might turn into a good thing. But yeah, at the moment, a lot of uncertainty, and it's sad. I think it's sad for pro golf. I mean, the top level of the game is experiencing some troubles with like Live and PGA and DP World Tour, and now the third tier, a big part of the third tier of the UK pro golf scene is gone. So it's sad.
Do you think as well it's quite a tough one, because obviously for viewers at home now, like you're saying, then there's the PGA Tour to potentially consume, there's Live, there's the DP World Tour, there's lots of golf, there's obviously all stuff on YouTube as well. And,
LPGA as well.
LPGA, yeah, LET, there's lots of content to consume, and then you've also got then the Challenge Tour, and then you've got the third tier, the Euro Pro. It's a bit different with football, the tier system, because you're going to support your team no matter what league they're in, or you should do anyway. That's the idea. So if your team gets demoted to League 2, you're still going to watch them or be interested in the results, etc. But, and obviously this is no disrespect whatsoever, I have never watched a Euro Pro event, even when it is on TV, because for me it's just another golf tournament I'm not invested in. So, I mean, for you guys playing, obviously that's your bread and butter. But do you think maybe these kind of smaller tours, if they want to attract more eyeballs, which therefore going to get more investments and help you guys as well, should they try and switch up the formats maybe, make them more, maybe a bit more like Live have been, a bit more shorter form or shotgun start, or could they do something to make the product more exciting for people to watch maybe, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. I think it's funny you mentioned you brought in the football and different, fan supporting. I think it was, imagine if the tier 3 of English football just said,
Well, that's literally what it's like.
Yeah.
It'd be absolute uproar.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like you say, your fans are so deeply rooted in the connection of those teams in League 3.
Yeah.
That's why they'd be uproar, because the fans would just go crazy, because their town, their village, their city that they live in, their football team has just been, gone.
Yeah, there'd be protests and Gary Neville would be on the TV.
He would.
Well, like for you guys, I know it's horrible. I'm sure your friends and family are absolutely devastated for you, as you are.
Yeah.
But that doesn't go much further than that.
No,
like,
you have
there's
a
lots
very
of little
close
pockets.
circle.
Yeah.
And I think all the pros are in the same position, and all the pros on tour, because we are all in the same position, we all get along really well. And we were sending messages that Wednesday morning, kind of didn't expect that. But yeah, very close circle in golf, and you don't have the kind of massive following, especially on the third tier.
I think what must be difficult as well is obviously people that play on the tour are in different parts of their career and different ages. Obviously, you say you're 24 before.
24, yeah.
So you're young, right at the start of your journey. And obviously, again, no disrespect to Euro Pro, but your aspiration, I'm guessing, are much higher than that to get onto DP World and maybe PJ Tour and have an amazing career, which hopefully I'm sure you will do.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some guys who might be mid-30s, early 40s, who maybe have a shop or a business that play Euro Pro occasionally. And they know they can't really get on the DP World at their age maybe now. I bet those guys feel it in a different way as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of everyone has their own situation. Like there's people with kids on that tour.
Yeah.
They have a few guys might have sponsors that they've committed to for a couple of years, and now who knows what will happen with that. So, yeah. And
at this level, Europro, is it everybody's almost full-time job, or have people got other jobs to support?
I'd say for probably 6 months of the year, most people are full-time golf. Like after my season finishes, then I might have to, find a job for a bit of income, and while the season isn't as busy. But most of the people are playing full-time, and most of the people might be funding it themselves or funding it through a sponsor. It's very expensive.
It's very, very, very different to the glam lifestyle that people's perception of like private jets, huge mansions, Ferraris.
It's a lot of driving, a lot of hotel rooms, and you can play good golf and still lose a lot of money that week.
It's quite crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a weird question for you. Okay.
Go on.
Do you think there's too many professional golfers trying to compete? Do you think there's enough room for everybody?
That is a good question.
Because I suppose if you've got the money to some degree, like, could I play the Euro Pro event, or do I have to qualify? If I stumped up my money,
you would have to. You don't have a card, so you would have to qualify.
Right, so that's where I'd get filtered out quite easily. But I'm trying to work out, like, anybody can turn pro.
Yeah.
Any golfer in the world can turn professional. Like, there's no actual limits on it. Like, I remember a story years ago, Sir Bobby Charlton, who used to play for United, legend, and he got a hole in one. And at the time, you could only earn £200 or whatever as an amateur golfer.
Yeah, because then you lose your start. Yeah.
And he won a car for this hole in one playing a charity golf day. And he really wanted this car, so he turned professional. So he could win this car, and he had to then play 2 years as a professional before then getting his amateur status back.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say there's no, unlike football, it's your coach, it's the manager, the scouts tell you you're not good enough to play this sport.
Yeah.
And you get dropped, and you have to then go and get a job. In golf, it's very, very difficult because you can, as long as you get back in and support and you convince the right people and you get in the event, you can play forever as a professional.
I suppose what's different is the definition of a professional, without looking up, is basically making your living out of doing something, whether it be photography or a sport. So a professional footballer, by definition, you earn your salary by playing football. But like I said, I could turn pro tomorrow. I could enter comps and never win a penny. And
you
still
could
be
lose for a full year.
Exactly, and still be a professional golfer.
Yeah, I think there might be too many professional golfers, but the best ones are always going to rise to the top, and the ones that
100%.
Yeah,
100%. But that's where, like, how many? Because we had the chat last week about there was a guy I saw on Twitter called Peter Scott, which, by the way, I just want to. He played in a local PGA event, and he was not particularly happy of the prize money. He came top 20 and blah blah blah. One thing, he messaged me afterwards and said, "Actually, can I get the facts straight? The prize fund was $7,000 the night. It was $11,000. It should have been. It got changed the night before to a $7,000 prize fund. That's why he wasn't particularly too happy about the money.
That. Why was that? Because of
lack
not
of
enough
entries.
people.
Yeah, it was like a local PGA event, 2 days at Bolton Old Links Golf Club.
Yeah.
But what's interesting? So that was one part of the question. when you now flick on Sky Sports News, okay?
Yeah.
And it's fairly likely now, within an hour, 2 hours, golf is now going to come up on Sky Sports News more than ever before, okay? Because of Liv.
Yeah, that's right.
You're sat there, and you've just had the devastating news that Europro might not be able to make it because of money.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts before about Liv, and maybe even now? Are you in a different position a week later, or what's your thoughts in general?
There's a little bit of frustration there because there's so much money flying around at the top, and none of that has, filtered down.
A bit like what the government are trying to do at the moment. They're trying to filter down all this extra
filtering
money.
down doesn't work, does it? But yeah, it's frustration definitely, because especially when they're saying about growing the game and they want the best up and coming pros on their tours, but they haven't been able to keep this tour going. That's feeds these tours. Yeah.
Do you think Europro has shut down because of Liv? Do you think there's been a direct influence there at all?
I don't think it's because of Liv.
Because think about it, if DP World Tour have had to raise their prize funds to compete, that prize fund's been taken from somewhere. Does it all get dragged up from lower? A Challenge Tour making less money, therefore Europro are making less money, therefore they've got to shut down something.
Yeah, I will say it's a good point, because a lot of players at my level are more interested in going over to Asia to play in their Q school now.
To get on to Liv?
Probably in the long term, yeah. So there was talk about it before the announcement was even made. A lot of players going over to Asia to play, and then I assume that since this announcement has been made, you're going to see so many more people go over to Asia to play. But it's where the money is. They're pumping money into these developmental tours as well. So,
I'm guessing do that to get world ranking points as well on Liv. So Asian Tour, and there's going to feed in. Let's say you had a meeting with 100 guys from Europro, okay? And Liv sat down and said, right, we're going to offer you all X amount of money to come and play on the tour. Do you think almost every one of them would say yes?
I think if someone's been on the tour for 4 or 5 years and they've seen what it's like competing at that level and losing money probably most weeks, I think most people would say it would be hard to turn down.
Does it surprise you when some of these young lads are joining Liv, like the young golfers who are probably similar age to you, starting their career on DP World Tour or PGA Tour, and they're going to Liv so early in their career? Does that shock you?
I think it does, especially if they keep up the ban on the players. Some of those players could have got PGA Tour starts or DP World Tour starts, and they haven't taken them, and they've chosen to go on the Liv route. And they might not be able to go back on that decision, so that surprises me.
Yeah, it certainly seems like they're not going to budge on letting them back in from everything that you're seeing at the moment.
Yeah.
So right now, what's your plan of attack? Like, what are you going to do now next year? Right, like, not even just next year. What do you reckon what's your next 5 years look like as a dream scenario?
Dream scenario. I'd quite like to do it the traditional way: Challenge Tour, DP World Tour.
So how do you get on Challenge Tour now? Do you have to qualify for it?
Yes, you would have to qualify for it, or get lucky with invites. But so many people are trying to get those invites that they're really hard to come by. And I think, like you said, Clutch Pro next year. That's unless something else comes up. That's probably what I'll be playing most of my golf on next year. And then hopefully have a good year, work my way up, and find myself on DP World Tour.
You can go to Q School for DP World Tour, can't you, at any stage, as long as you're obviously paying you.
Yes. I was actually in Denmark. I got back from Denmark on Saturday, and I did Q School. I didn't get through, so I won't be playing DP World Tour next year.
Yeah.
We could have been having a very different conversation today.
Yeah, I know. I wish we were having that conversation.
That's we said before about got football and these comparisons that you can't really make, but that's the thing. Obviously I couldn't be a professional golfer anyway, but there's no way I can play for Liverpool, is there? There's no way I can play for Chelsea. It's just not going to happen.
You might be able to play for United at the moment.
That's true. But there's this magic about the fact. Imagine if I went, you know what? I'm going to take a year off work. I'm going to practice every day. I'm going to go for it. You know, as long as I pay money, I can get to European Tour qualifying. And it's like, was it 6 or 8 rounds to get through, or whatever it might be?
So there's 3 stages, and the final stage is 6 rounds.
Oh, so there's a lot of stages.
It's actually mental, isn't it? To try and qualify through
It's a proper test.
But there's that romance about it that like you could do.
It's a bit like playing in the Open.
Exactly.
Open qualifying.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, obviously I would never ever be anywhere remotely close, but it's that thing that you could play the lottery a little bit. So that's why I guess it is that kind of romantic thing where your dream is always within grasp.
Like it's not like I say, it's not like you can go for 6 trials and suddenly you get into Liverpool football team. You just can't do it.
It's like when the Tour Championships, because it's double money on the Euro Pro Tour. If you win that, you are more than likely to get on Challenge Tour. So there is a chance, if I win that and do have that like dream week that you're on about, that I will be playing Challenge Tour golf next year. So, well, yeah.
And is Challenge Tour a level where you can make a good living off it? Obviously, again, the goal would always be DP World, but I guess because, again, the prize fund increases on Challenge Tour.
It does increase, but so does your cost because it's all over the place.
And so does your competition.
And competition is much harder.
Gets harder.
Yeah.
Have you got a world ranking right now?
I don't have a world ranking, no.
Right now, bare all, what's lacking in your game to get to the next levels? Is there anything? I'm guessing there is.
Yeah.
What is it? How are you going to address it?
Yeah.
And is there areas of your game that you think you're almost like miles off from, or is it not?
No, not miles off. I think it's very fine margins on the pro level.
Like, what's the strength in your game?
This year it's been my short game, but historically long game has been my strength, and this year that's not been there as much. I think being on the playing pro golf for 1 year, I've learnt a lot, and I think going forward, I've learnt stuff this year that will really help me going forward. Like the schedule at pro golf, I've done 6 weeks in a row a couple of times, and at amateur golf, I never did that. You'd have 1 or 2 tournaments a month, maybe. So it's more spread out. So say if you played bad in a tournament, you'd have a couple of weeks to work on things, but you might play bad in pro golf, and you've got another tournament next week, and you need to find your game.
But that can be good and bad, though.
It is. If you're playing well, you can use it as very good momentum.
Yeah.
But if you're playing bad, you need to snap out of it pretty quick, and it's hard to do that in tournament golf and under pressure.
Do you feel suddenly now you've turned pro that every shot matters more? Like, is that mindset, because obviously this is what's funding your future? Like, is that this whole idea of putting for your mortgage is much easier than putting for the Wednesday medal?
Yeah.
Like,
I think if you've obviously, if you turn in pro, you've taken golf seriously before that, and you need to build good habits before you turn pro, and almost have that mentality as an amateur golfer, like every shot matters, because it could be the difference between you getting an England pick or or Walker Cup like we were on about. So I've always kind of thought that way, like wasting shots and things like that. You're not going to be a good pro anyway.
That's a good tip. Don't waste shots. That's what we always do.
That's not. So you're not supposed to make bogeys and doubles.
No, not from middle of fairway, 50 yards out. No.
Does it though?
You're definitely watching my videos.
Does it true? Obviously, when you've been an elite amateur standard like you have, obviously at college and for England, like that must be pressure. Obviously, you can handle that pressure, which is proven. But truthfully, does it feel different playing for money, or do you have to be in that mindset where it doesn't affect you otherwise? Because I mean, if I had a putt for $1,000, I'd be shaking like a leaf and I'd miss it. But for you guys, you must have to be able to compose yourself, I imagine, just to get to the level you're at. But deep down, does it feel different?
It might be in the back of your mind, but you've got to put it to the back of your mind and stick to your routine, and don't change anything. It's just like any other shot, because you could miss a 3-footer on the first hole of the tournament, and you could miss a 3-footer on the last hole of the tournament. They both meant the same. They both count the same.
Very true.
But yeah, it's in the back of your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
But you say if you miss a 3-footer for birdie, it doesn't feel as bad as missing a 3-footer for bogey.
Yeah.
Like, they always feel worse to miss, don't they?
100%.
The
But
mindset
they're worth the same.
Yeah.
Exactly. Weird scenario. Okay.
Okay.
You versus Rory McIlroy.
Yeah.
Okay. Over 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
You pick the course. Old course, let's say. I'll be the course. Old
No,
course.
he's played pretty well there.
He has.
What do you reckon the score difference would be?
What is he averaging? 68.
Well, he shot 66 over the weekend.
His average for the year is about 68. Is that?
Yeah, I think he was the first player since Tiger in whatever year to have a stroke average under 69.
This is a tough question to answer, isn't it?
Yeah, no. So I've averaged 70 this year on probably less
challenging
courses. So I'd say probably 8 shots. For over 4 rounds.
So 2 shots around.
Somewhere. Yeah, I'm just going off averages there. I might play well. He might have a shocker, but
that's what's crazy about golf. Like, you could go out tomorrow with 18, because we've done videos with tour pros before, elite tour pros, and sometimes they go out like Minwoo Lee and actually shoot the lights out, and you're like, oh my god, how's this guy not the world number 1? And then equally, you got with tour pros, again, established big names, and they might shoot 100 or 200, not really look that impressive. So you could go out tomorrow and beat Rory, and we see that sometimes he goes 66, 76.
It's
just
funny,
that consistency, isn't it, over time?
Yeah, it's funny in the pro-ams. The pro-ams at Europro are a very different vibe to the tournament days, obviously. And you see some of the scores, someone might shoot 75, and then the first round they shoot 63 of the tournament. It's like,
I actually feel
that's
like
the way to do it.
All the way round. I thought you were going to tell to me then the pro-am, because they're chilled and relaxed, they go out and shoot 64, and then the tournament they go and shoot 78 or something.
Usually tournament scores are better than pro-am scores.
Is that right? Wow. I actually honestly thought it might be the other way around, because there's no pressure in the pro-am. It feels like a bit of a hit and giggle. Like.
Yeah, you might go at a few pins that you wouldn't usually, but I'd say overall the scores in the tournament are probably better.
That's
well,
where
it
the
brings
difference
us on
is
quite nicely to the video idea we've got today. Hold that thought for a second.
Go on.
While you just said that, the video idea today, right? Yeah. So Rhys is going to join us on a video, which will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to go, which complete coincidence, because I'd already arranged the golf course before knowing you were coming on the podcast. We're going to Sandy Way, which is your home golf course.
Yeah, home course. I left out a detail as well. I've got the course record there as well.
Oh,
brilliant. Right, this might work very much into your favour. We've got a challenge for you, okay? Yeah. You are going to be playing today, okay? And for every birdie you make, you will get a cash prize.
Okay.
Bogeys don't matter.
All right.
Doubles don't matter. You are playing 100% attack mode.
Okay.
At the moment, it stands. If you want to play off the members' tees, so the yellow tees, let's call it, I'll give you £100 a birdie.
Okay.
If you want to play off the white or the next furthest back tees, 150 a birdie. If you want to play off the furthest back tees, I don't know if there is another back tee after
like
that.
The plates,
£200 a birdie.
But that's going to be the same for the whole round. Once you pick your tee,
so you can choose that when we get to the golf course. Keep everyone watching this video in suspense. How does that sound?
Yeah, I'm up for it. Let's do it.
I want to see a lot of birdies. Okay, attack mode everywhere.
Are you going attack mode as well?
I'm not playing. I'm going to be sat there trying to put you off. I'm going to take an air horn. It's my money. I'm giving you every birdie. So I'm like, no. I'm going to fully supporting you. I'll be backing you all the way. Right now on video, how many birdies do you reckon you can make on a nice chilled out Monday in October?
If I don't make 5 or 6, I'll be disappointed.
We won't ask for what tee yet. We'll let you choose.
Yeah, we'll wait for the tee. We'll wait for the tee. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
For that? Yeah, he's like, absolutely. I literally can't lose.
Like, what's your plan for next year with the Euro Pro? Well, I'm not bothered. I'm just going to play on Rick Shiels and keep milking him.
Yeah, new tour idea.
Rick, I've got a new one we can do. I think it'd be a
birdie tour.
How funny good would that idea be?
You were saying different formats. It'd be very entertaining.
It would.
It'd actually be sick, that, wouldn't it?
Well, the plan originally was you were going to break 75, weren't we?
Yeah.
But we thought this is a one-off. Let's get something really different in the can. So I'm very, very... We know a good video when we're excited to see it. Like, I'm dead excited to go and film it.
I can't wait to know how many birdies you make. Like, I'm thinking to myself, how many is possible?
And there's no... We said if you go out of bounds or hit a bad shot, like, just next hole.
Just go on next hole.
Like, literally, it's just...
Driver
all guns.
Everywhere.
Full send.
Absolute full send.
So that's a really fun video coming soon. So hopefully that might kickstart your clutch tour journey potentially for next year.
Get in the habit of making loads of birdies.
Yeah.
It'll be the next event. Maybe like this Boss Rolex on. I was like, Rhys, what you watch from? Oh, Rick Shiels.
Every week he wants to try and play me for this birdie challenge. Sorry, were you going to ask a question?
I was, but I've forgotten now.
I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember.
Okay, so at the moment, your Europro's not happening. You're going to go Clutch Tour. Hopefully, going to see you on DP World Tour, whatever that may look like in the future.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued and excited to see how it all pans out. I'm sure it's quite nervous time for you and your fellow pros in that space, because it's like uncertainty is never good, but hopefully it turns into something good.
Yeah.
And kind of see where it goes on from there. Really.
Yeah, that's the plan. Just keep the game good, and hopefully, when an opportunity comes around, and take it. And
I tell you what, there was a quick question actually I wanted to ask you very quickly, because again, I think listeners, viewers' perception of Tour Pro is Rory, Tiger, whoever it may be. At your level, do you get sponsors?
They're hard to come by. I think it's a little bit all about who you know, and but I'd say maybe 50% of probably people my level have a sponsor.
And when is that just a businessman who will stump up your entry fees?
Yeah, more like that. So,
and you might wear their business on your sleeve or something.
Yeah, that's the people who you're going to get money from. Like I've always worked with Titleist and Under Armour, but that isn't monetary. That's just free gear and equipment.
I mean, that must be nice for you though, in the sense that is there some guys going to Europro like struggling for Pro V1s, for example?
Yeah, probably. There's players that probably don't get clubs, and it's nice that I don't have to worry about that.
Like you get clubs, you get clothes as well, do you?
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
And then you just have an investor that backs you for your tournaments, etc.
This year I have done quite a lot of it myself and my family, and then my management company Ignis have been there in case I needed anything.
Right.
But yeah, it like having a sponsor or a couple sponsors each year would definitely take some pressure off. It's just finding the right
if you make enough birdies today,
yeah,
little RS logo on
no
your
pressure.
film. I think that'll work quite nicely. Well, it's been fascinating, interesting. Yeah. It feels like it's a world of golf that I reckon a lot of the viewers and listeners won't know about.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's kind of third level of golf, but hopefully you'll continue into second and the Premier League at some point in your life.
Yeah.
Keep it up, keep practicing hard. I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
And let's go make some birdies around Sandyway.
The
video will be coming soon.
Yeah,
Thanks, Rhys. That was fast, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great.